good to go. Look at this. And I see from the emojis that we are back in broadcasting. We have a new guest. We have a new guest with one of my favorite accents as well. By the way, one of my favorite, although I suppose I think it's an accent, but really you probably think I have an accent. You're like, oh yeah, that
definitely.
American. All right, so I'm gonna Gideon. We'll do some magic here at the end, and then so Amanda, I just wanna kind of have you introduce yourself, because I can introduce you, but I can introduce you as learning experience designer at Shopify, AR, VR hobbyist, learning and development consultant. But that doesn't really tell me about you, and I don't think we've had the pleasure of talking live before. So when people say, I know we've been connected on LinkedIn for a while. This is one of my favorite parts of these things. So tell me a little bit about you and what you bring to the micro learning table.
Yeah. Well, I'm honestly just a natural learning nerd. I'm just
learning
a geek.
nerd. A nerd.
I'm just a geek.
nerd.
I'm an early nerd. Absolute geek. Just here sharing my knowledge.
Okay.
Sharing my passion. Right. That's it.
All right. Well, you know what? That's all we have to say with that, because I'm going to turn over the reins to you, and I'm going to let you do your thing. For you've got some time, but I'm warning you. When you see me come back in, it means I'm telling you, hey, you're running out of time. So you'll see it, and I'm going to let you take it from here. And everyone, you are in fantastic hands.
Okay. Oh, can you guys see my screen, or is it all whack? Oh no! What a way to start with technical difficulty.
We'll come back in and tell you that it was all good.
So okay, great.
Good. This is why I need to not go off hosting before the thing's actually getting ready. So you share your screen while we do this through the this is the beauty of digital technology. Well, no, now it's not sharing. So now we're not sharing. So now you need to share because it stopped sharing totally.
No, everyone, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I just woke up literally.
Yeah, what time is it while you're pulling that up?
It's 8:30.
8:30 in the morning. Okay, yes. Well, by the way, you have quite a fanfare in the chat as you're doing this. You have quite a few fans.
Sharing. Just let me know when it's all good, yeah? Let me switch ears.
Okay, I'm not sure where it went. It says one person is sharing. Can everybody see it? It's not sharing. What's weird is it says you're sharing in the thing, but it's not. It was working before. Oh,
One second.
You know what? You want to watch something magic?
Because watch magic while I sort my shit out.
Oh, there we go. It's sharing. So you can go full screen, and then I'm going to tell you, and now switch displays, and then I'm going to disappear. Look at this. We're sharing. Amanda, you are live. Everyone is giving you heart emojis, all sorts of stuff, and everyone's chatting. So now I'm going to disappear.
All good. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. I'm so sorry for that. I'll just jump straight into it. So my session is around tips for creating infographics to tell better stories. So what's happening in the session today? For those that don't know who I am, I'll probably give you a quick introduction with who I am. And then I'll jump straight into micro-learning experiences and what that means for me and how I personally perceive it based on working in various L&D roles and seeing how that plays out in different organizations. And then why infographics, why I personally love it, and why you guys should love it as well. So I'll share my insights there. And then I'll kickstart with all of the tips. So tip number 1 on how to start with a story for your infographic. Tip number 2 is how you can then map the structure. Tip number 3, it's all in the body. And then tip number 4, how you could theme and do the visual design approach for your infographic. And then finally, choosing your weapon. So picking the right tool to help you craft a beautiful looking infographic that creates impact. And then finally, we have some time for some questions. Now let's move forward. Okay, so I'm Amanda Nguyen. I'm a learning geek based in Sydney, Australia. I've been in learning for about 10 years now. So probably in the past 5 years, I then started specializing in digital and immersive learning design. So I moved from an end-to-end L&D consulting role, L&D lead role, and then moved straight into instructional design, e-learning development, and now I'm a learning experience designer. I currently work for Shopify as a learning experience designer within the APAC region, but I also am an independent freelancer, again, doing LXD. So I like to have a mix of both worlds. Before Shopify, I was freelancing full-time, and I just really missed humans. I missed working a part of a team. I missed being a part of a bigger picture. So I decided to take an opportunity there. So now I get to do both things that I love. Outside of my LXD world in my learning geek world, I love being one with nature, meaning that I do love camping quite a bit. I'm always out and about down South Coast, camping with my family, having our amazing rooftop tent on our 4-wheel drive and just really enjoying nature. I also have a side hustle. I design handmade home decor pieces and I do abstract artworks for homes. I'm currently building my online store using Shopify. So all the entrepreneurs out there, get on that Shopify bandwagon. And finally, I love food. I absolutely love food. My favorite food is donuts. I just love donuts. If I could eat donuts 7 days a week, I would, but at the moment I'm eating it 6 days a week. So that's okay too. Alrighty, so jumping into micro-learning experiences. For me, micro-learning is probably defined differently to everyone, and it just depends on which kind of organization you're working for or what kind of clients you're dealing with. And I've kind of gauged it from up to 10 minutes, and it could include one or more learning interactions. So the reason why I say up to 10 minutes is because I feel like we're still transitioning from the long, lengthy, half an hour to an hour bums on seat e-learning style modules. Oh, I hear a ping, but I think that's okay. Anyway, I'm just going to continue. I'm sorry, I can't see your faces. I can't see the chat, so I'm just going to keep talking. But for me, it's defined differently. You know, I think up until now, we're still transitioning and experimenting with different kinds of solutions to help map a learning experience and a learning journey. And I find that 10 minutes is great. You know, maybe if you're in another organization that is very open to, you know, finding out what micro-learning means to you and maybe doing interactions that are up to 3 minutes, like TikTok. TikTok is maximum 3 minutes and it could be minimum of 30 seconds, 15 seconds. But I find that 10 minutes is good. So a range of different kinds of learning interactions that I've found that could bundle together into a nice micro-learning experience could be quizzes, mini games, animations, scenario-based experiences, curated resources, explainer videos, podcasts, audio bites, infographics, interactive PDFs, VR AR experiences, microsites, and light reading. Light, bold and underlined light reading, not a lot of reading. So, you know, I think today we'll just be focusing on infographics, but this is just some of the different kinds of interactions that, you know, I could whip up for this slide. And exactly what Kate said before, we are absolutely spoiled with choice when it comes to, you know, mix and matching and cherry picking different learning interactions that are available. It's just what's fit for purpose and how that suits the learners and their learning experience. Just checking time. Yep, I think I'm good. So why infographics? It's a way to communicate your information quickly and clearly. I always use this analogy because I think it's, you know, quite relevant. But imagine it's your first time camping. You go out to the store and you buy yourself a beautiful, expensive, brand new tent and you've never set up a tent before. So you're excited. You're getting ready to go on your camping trip. You're driving there to the campsite. The sun's slowly going down. So you're like, oh crap, I need to set up a bloody tent. So then you open up the tent and a bloody manual comes out of your tent bag, a 200-page manual on how to set up a tent. One, I'll probably start panicking. I would probably not set up the tent and sleep in my car. And it's just starting off to a really poor user experience and learning experience on how I could set up a tent. You know, but what we could do in that situation is provide a nice infographic or a one-pager on clear steps on how to set up your tent. This will probably be a much better user experience and learning experience as opposed to reading a whole manual late at night where bears and kangaroos are out there trying to get you. So I think for me, how we can elevate this infographic a bit more is to add a call to action. Perhaps you can add a QR code where you could scan to take you through a short video tutorial on how you can set up the tent, or a direct link to reading in detail as opposed to a book on their website or whatever. So there's many ways that you could do it. And again, the core purpose of infographics is just to communicate your information quickly and clearly. So moving on to the tips, starting with the story, I think when you do get handed the content, you've identified that there's a range of content that is involved and you're looking at designing an infographic, it's a moment to take a step back to look at, is it a process? Is it a timeline? Is it explaining a concept or a topic, or is it a set of tips? If you could start right at the beginning and identify all the data that is available and really focus on visualizing that data, you're kickstarting it with a story, and you're extracting what needs to be extracted and to really illustrate that in the next phases of designing your infographic. So this will set the scene for the infographic itself. Step number 2 is mapping out the structure of your infographic. I think this is so important because rather than just jumping straight into a tool and whacking together whatever the template is, again, focusing on that story, figure out what your infographic's about, and now you start wireframing. So my go-to would be a header, body, footer. It's simple, but it works. It's just a base structure for the flow of your infographic. So you can start with a header, make sure it's a catchy title with the simple description to create that context for whoever's engaging with your infographic. And then the body. So dividing the elements, and the segments in the content into sections. So making sure that whatever content that you have, you're able to break that up and, contextualize it and group it into different segments and elements. And then finally, in the footer, you wrap it up with a final point or a call to action to spark that behavioral change. So what does that look like? So it's all in the body. So you got your header, your footer, done. But the body is where you can be a bit creative. The body is where you can move things around to bring your story to life. It's where the magic happens, and you can help illustrate that to your audience by wireframing first. So remember, plan first before you go and develop. And this is an example of a wireframe of an infographic. So there's really cool wireframing tools out there. You can get templates to give you some ideas of what elements can sit where within the body. But make sure you take some time out to plan first before you jump straight into the tools. I find that you're able to just collate all your thoughts and make sure that you're not missing crucial information or data or any data visualizations that you're trying to illustrate in your infographic. Okay, and now finding a theme and a visual design approach. I think sometimes it might be a bit overwhelming when you hit this stage if you haven't found the theme right at the beginning when you're mapping the story. But to help you on this journey, I usually do 3 buckets of visual design approaches. And it's just easier to cherry pick what kind of style you're going for. So for me, the first one would be using illustrations. There's a range of different styles and kinds of illustrations out there that you could use. Here is a mixture of like line illustrations with a bit of fill color. You could use flat illustrations, 3D styled, gradient imagery and illustrations. So there's a range of stuff that you could use. And then going into iconography, I think for me, consistency is key throughout all of your learning design and your assets. So here in the iconography, I know I have 2 different types of icons, but I just really wanted to show you guys the different kinds of iconography that's available. This is just 2 style. There's literally thousands of styles of iconography that you can use. So just make sure you're consistent with your branding and approach to the theme that you're going for. And then finally, using emotive imagery. So sometimes if your intended audience is not a fan of illustrations, you could use emotive imagery with a mixture of iconography. So one of my favorite styles and approach is using really nice imagery that's quite warm. You can see the main character or the main person is not looking directly at the camera. So it's quite candid in their element with the surrounding as well, touching on that camping theme and vibe. I would usually overlay like a nice dark color and then add over on top the nice iconography to really make that pop and talk the users through the flow of the process or timeline or whatever content that we have. So you can use a mixture of both. Just have fun with it, play around with it. And I think it all starts with the wireframing right at the beginning to see what works and what doesn't work to suit your content. Now the fun stuff, picking your tool. For me personally, I love Adobe Illustrator. I've used Adobe I've used Adobe Illustrator for a very, very long time. And it's just a tool that I'm naturally, comfortable with. So I like it because I'm able to work with a completely blank canvas. I'm able to move things around, fix up the colors to my illustrations like I did in this presentation. And it's a tool that I like to use, and it might not be for everyone, and that's okay because I got you. So let's say you don't want to use Adobe Illustrator. You're like, Amanda, it's too freaking hard. I don't have time. I want something that's easy and good to go. No worries. So we can use infographic builders. The great thing about now more than ever is I find that there's a lot of really cool developers out there that are making graphic design easy for us, for everyday people, for everyone in various roles, just to make your life easier. Why not? So you don't have to play on the complex tools. You can use amazing builders that have ample templates that you can play around with. So for interactive infographics, you could use Genially. Feel free to correct me on pronunciation, apologies, but you can use this tool. So that's pretty cool. Infogram, there's Vengage, there's good old Canva, visme.co, Snapper, Pictochart, Easily. All these are just some of the really, really cool tools that are available at the moment in the market, where you could just whip up an infographic based on existing templates. You can play around with it, add in your own illustrations if you like as well. So, pick the right tool that works for you and for what you need. If you have a long amount of time to create a beautiful infographic, you could use like Figma or Adobe Illustrator and start from complete scratch. Or you could use all of these amazing infographic builders if you don't have a lot of time. And that's okay. I think at the end of the day, it all serves the same purpose. The output is exactly the same. Just use what works for you and your team. Keep it simple. And at the end of the day, you can create some beautiful looking assets as well. So this means that everyone and anyone can create awesome, amazing, and engaging infographics. And that's it. Oh, wow. I think I was speed talking. My bad. So have fun creating. And
could you apologize? Because that just means that, I guess it's the downside is for the participants, because now you got to sit and talk to me for a bit, because I'm gonna keep you on here, because I think there's, as we've sat and talked through this, especially with your experience on here, so I want to ask some of the questions that have popped up along the way, and then just kind of touch base on things. So first of all, the one question that was so popular in the beginning,
I see you guys.
Amanda, is what did you design your presentation with?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
PowerPoint presentation.
Boom. There were a lot of guesses on that one, but that was absolutely gorgeous the way you did it. So kudos to you from a just a visual design standpoint.
Thanks.
I think everybody was very impressed, and I think it again goes to show that you can create really visually appealing things with tools that you have today. You don't have to be a master in Adobe Suite to be able to create stuff that makes people go, wow, wow.
Yeah, like I started learning in PowerPoint.
Okay.
I would create infographics in there. It's amazing.
I remember back in the day when I was doing e-learning design, when I actually learned how to use what was in PowerPoint, suddenly you started going, oh, I can do this and I can do there was a lot more to it than you could even realize was there. So I'm curious, background wise, because again, I'm gonna ask questions that you know people are asking.
Go for
it, Christine. Your comment just made me literally lose my train of thought and laugh. By the way, anyway, so Amanda, your background. Did you go into this? Did you? You know, I think sometimes people think, well, I'm not a graphic designer. Did you go in to this thinking that's what you were going to do, or how did you build
absolutely not. So I probably I did the traditional thing. I studied human resources at university. So I started my career in HR, and then I did HR for like 6 months and I didn't like it. So that was 4 years out the door. And then I found
you probably had some meaningful experience.
Yes, okay, fine. It was so meaningful.
I went to school to be a math teacher, and I'm not teaching math to middle schoolers either, but I don't consider it a waste. So okay, so HR, you went to school to be HR, and you went, nah, the same for me.
No, but then I got to work alongside some L&D geeks, and I was like, what is this beautiful
nerds.
world?
We said this earlier, the nerds.
The nerds. I'm like, what is this amazing space? So I got to work, you know, on a leadership program and looking at workshop design. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much more fun than writing contracts and all the HRsy stuff. Again, really appreciate and value the HR industry because I work alongside them every day. But so then that's where I started scaling my L&D career. And I did that for about 5-6 years doing end-to-end L&D. And then one day, I still remember this so vividly, I was working for a tech startup and it was an amazing organization, but I was standing there printing and I was looking out at the beautiful Harbour Bridge, you know, the Sydney Opera House. And then I decided to resign. I decided to leave my role only because I think I needed a break and I was working really quickly in my career and I just needed that little break. And then so I took 9 months off and then I became a freelance graffiti artist and I did murals. And then I did graphic design.
From HR, I'm going to go into HR.
Well, I've always been creative. Yeah, since I was young, I would like sell canvases just on the side for fun, but I never really thought anything of it. But I thought I took that 9 months to upskill myself in graphic design. And then as well as doing murals. So then
I don't know if you were freelancing as a graffiti artist, I think there was some natural graphic design capability built into it. So it was probably more learning the tool set. And
yes. I think that's where all of my work is quite colorful. I think if, you know, you follow my portfolio and all my work on LinkedIn, it is quite bright and colorful. And I just love that. So then after the 9 months of muraling and graphic designing and opening up a failed food truck, selling mushroom burgers. I'm just telling everyone my life story that's on here.
Why not? Hey, this is me. You know, I don't think anybody's going to complain and go, no, I don't want to know more about Amanda.
You don't want to know more about me. It's okay. You can so
just freelance graffiti artist, failed food truck, upskilled graphic designer. This is fantastic. Okay.
So then I entered back into the workforce because I really missed learning and development. I'm like, oh, I missed that, you know, that team vibes and just learning and help people learn and doing all the OD stuff as well. So I entered back into the workforce as an instructional designer. I never learned the tools. My first interview phase, like if my previous employer found out, that's okay. They know me. They're awesome.
We're just broadcasting this live all over the internet.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
No worries. This is me. You know, I'm very truthful. But they asked me to do a sample of work. You know, have you used Storyline before? I'm like, sure, of course. Absolutely. Never used it before in my entire life. But then I think that's where the transition of PowerPoint, it's easy to use. It's a natural progression to use that. And then I mocked up like a what was it? A bullying and harassment game in Storyline. I just mapped out like a nice little map with like markers and hotspots and like a scenario-based experience. And then, yeah, I got the job. It was awesome. And then I moved my career up that way in terms of specializing in digital learning experiences. And it was awesome. I get to mix my passion for L&D, all of like the strong learning design, the consulting, the strategic side of things, through to developing the solution and seeing that through. And that's my total jam. So that's where I am right now. I've been just loving life, doing a mix of things.
I love that. Well, and I think, for anybody there, we got 300 people sitting here watching this, and many who will watch it afterwards. But I think the inspiration behind that is you were on a progressive journey, even though you had some natural creative talent from the beginning. You weren't putting together this stuff just right out of the gate. You had to build this, and through time and experience and practice, picked up some of these things.
Lots and lots of practice. So for anyone that always reaches out to me like, oh, Amanda, how do you design stuff? I'm like, you know what? I think the important thing is the learning design component. You can create something so beautiful, but if it doesn't land or hit the mark with its intended outcome for your users or your audience, there's no purpose. So when people talk to me about VR and AR experiences, they're like, oh, you must be creating stuff at work. I'm like, well, not really, because it's not fit for purpose. Like, I create weird UFO games that abduct cows for my VR games. Like, that's the weird stuff that I create for fun. It's purely for fun, and weird AR experiences where I'm creating like a sushi platter and I'm giving it to my husband. It's really weird, but it's not fit for purpose for work yet. Like, I don't see that yet. And maybe in the future, when we do spend time and really look at how we can create really awesome VR experience for work, hell yeah. So that's why I'm just having fun on that side as well.
And I love, I love that point of this, is that, and this was the whole theme of the conference that we brought up, is that you learn these different tool sets, you build your portfolio, your palette, your tool set, and then you figure out, what are we really trying to do here? And infographics, I've been a big fan of infographics, even before they were a big thing, because they really do visually communicate
simple, but it works
in such a different way, in a completely different way than you can through any other type of medium. But again, if you're just, hey, I'm going to make an infographic and slap a bunch of numbers on it, and then I'm going to send that instead of an email, probably not going to land with the same impact. Although if it looks as good as the stuff you're designing, it's going to be a better impact than an email. But to your point,
anyone can design. It's all learning.
No, okay. All right. So I'll close this. I'll close, your conversation with this, because there were you've got a whole fan club now that has started as a result of being here. If you're watching
I haven't
this,
scrolled down.
I know. Well, you've got YouTube subscribers now. They're all following Amanda and her journey, because let's give some more emoji love. There haven't been enough floating through things like that. So, but I think for this, because I think a lot of people, and one other thing, and then I'm going to ask you this question, is the fact that this is one of the things I love most about the field that we're in, is that learning and development, people think it's just this one size fits all. Like, you're a learning professional, so you must be this. Absolutely not. Like,
always evolving.
You can make an entire career in design within the field of learning and development. And you've really shown how you can set yourself apart by doing that. So that leads to this question for folks who may be going, I want to do more with design. I want to do more with visual experience. Where do you recommend people start? Do they start in PowerPoint? I mean, I love Canva. I love me some Canva. Don't get me wrong.
Canva's good.
But like, where do you recommend people start? And are there any specific tips that you have for folks to get started?
Just start practicing and designing. Just create mock-ups. Go onto YouTube and learn some tutorials. That's how I learned personally. All the tools that I've learned on my own, learning from other people, getting inspired by other people's work and mimicking that. I think within the design industry, everything's a bit borrowed, a bit stolen, regurgitated and mixed in various ways. And that's how I learn best. If I see something that has a really good design aesthetic or a learning design approach, I see how I can mish and mash that together with a type of visual design style, you know, and sometimes it looks absolutely like a dog's breakfast and sometimes it looks great. So, you know, there's been times where people tell me to tone down on the colors, and I'm like, that's okay. I'd rather go crazy and create something really wild and get the and then get the feedback that I need, and then I refine it to suit the intended audience. So keep on practicing. Like, yeah, I think what
let me ask you this one. I got a follow-up question. See, we could probably just sit and chat about this for a bit, but I won't because I know your day's just getting started. But so how about this one? And this is just more of a humorous one. Yeah, do you have any, because I think back, there's some of the stuff from my early design days where if I pulled it up on screen, I would be so embarrassed that I ever created it, right? Like, so have there been any examples of that you think back, like when you were first getting started, that you went, I can't believe that I made this type of thing, but it was part of your development journey?
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. One of the tech startups that I worked for, it was probably like my second e-learning module that I've ever designed. And it was around, like hotels, introducing our team members to understanding how the hotel industry works. And I don't know what possessed me, but I was going on this like tangent of really cool, like vibrant illustrations, and it was really in your face. It was like very bright, like with green trees and like a road, and the cars were like all sorts of colors, and people were clicking all sorts of places. And like, Amanda, what the hell? Like, why is it so bright? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's true. I did get a little bit carried away with it, but if I were to take that out again and look at it, I'll probably cry a little inside.
All right.
But again, fit for purpose. You got to understand your audience to design that, the right
and
thing.
Again, I think well, you know what? And that's another good point. Think of who your audience is too, because it can be easy to like express your creativity.
Oh, I was so expressive.
Yeah, you're like, I love this. And I remember I worked in a regulatory department for a while, and I tried to do some stuff that I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Let's just say it didn't go over real well with that.
Oh, it happens to me all the time. It's okay.
All right. So the moral of the story is practice, experiment, take some risks. Know that you don't have to get it right out of the gate, and it's better to do and grow than it is to not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's give Amanda one more round of emoji applause for all of this stuff, for being here, for joining us, for sharing her wisdom and all the wisdom she's going to keep sharing, because you're a content creator, Amanda. So I know you're still producing. I know. Why we raise the tide, we raise it for everybody. So
that's it, 100%. Free content for everyone.
I think that's exactly it. So Amanda, you can either hang out here, or you can, if you got to drop, because I know it's morning for you, you can do that. But we're going to just do some kind of closing thoughts. I'm going to spin the wheel a few more times so nobody just start dipping out because they're like, oh, this is the end. I'm just going to jump off, or you're going to miss out. And I'm going to invite Gideon back on stage. But again, Amanda, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your visual expertise. I think everybody can learn a lot from that. So Gideon, you're back. We've got a couple more tricks that we want to do.
I want to see Gideon's trick.
I know. Well, because, okay, speaking of sharing content, he's going to teach everybody here how to do one. So I think that's really important. We got to spin the wheel, and then I'm going to invite the 7 Taps team up, and they're going to come back on stage and kind of say thanks to everybody, share what's going on, and all this fun stuff. So Gideon, you're here. What do you want to do? Do you want to do you want to guess my word, or what do you want to do?
No, the word is for later. I have 2 things that I wanted to show you all. One of them is teaching, and one is interactive with everybody. But the first thing, I want to say thank you to Amanda for showing us how to make your presentations a bit more eye-popping. So thank you for that. Thanks for that. I think we all learned a lot from that.
Oh my gosh.
I saved all the edgy stuff for the last, you know.
That's fine. The kids have gone to bed. It's
fine. The kids have gone to bed.
Pull out the PG-13.
I love it.
No, because before you did the food truck and stuff like that, and also before I did magic, I also used to sell mushrooms. But never mind, we won't talk about that. So
mushroom burgers, everyone! Oh my god,
mushroom burgers. All right, so I want to do something interactive with everybody here. Let's see how my frame cuts out. Let's see. If I put this up, it kind of shows all of them, or it cuts out one of them.
No, we can see it. We got a
sloth. We got a banana, or a banana. if you're from, never mind. So you got the tutu dress, and you got the socks, and you have the pickle. Okay. So do you see the pickle in the end? It's very important. Without the pickle, it doesn't work.
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
Okay.
So pickle, blue socks, dress, banana, sloth.
Right. Again, I want everybody here, everybody, also in the chat, also Amanda, and also Christopher, to think of one of these objects. Okay, it could be anyone you want, but like all of my things, everything is Zen. Don't get too attached. Well, easy come, easy go. In a second, I want you to change your mind to a different object. Okay, and just for fun, change your mind again. So even you're thinking of something you didn't think you would think of, which is amazing in itself. But I want you to notice that each whatever object you are right now, it has a number. And in a second, I'm going to ask you to move the amount of number of your object. So let's say, for instance, you're on the banana, like me, and you need to move twice. Now, I will show you how to move. Don't move yet. You can either move right or left, and you're going to count 2. So it's going to be 1, 2, and then you'll be on the socks. Or you could do 1, 2, and then you'd be back on the banana. So if you reach the end, the next number is counting the way back. So wherever number you are now, count either right or left. And now you are on a new object. And I have a feeling, it's just a hunch, even though we're about 250 people all around the world, I have a feeling that some of you are on the banana, some of you are on the dress, some of you are on the socks, but nobody is on the pickle, and nobody is on the sloth. And I'm so confident of this, I'm going to take him out of the game. And now, wherever you might be on one of these 3, I want you to move one more time, okay? Either right or left, only once. Or right or left, move only once. Now. And that's it. That's going to be your object. And I have a feeling, that nobody right now is on the socks, and nobody is on the banana. And I think that everybody is on the tutu. And if you also chose the tutu, I want you to write in the chat tutu. And Christopher, did you get the tutu?
I did.
And Amanda, did you get the tutu? I tell you what, everybody chose tutu, but so did I. But not in the game, because you see, I was here for 4 hours, and you were only seeing this part of me.
Stop.
So
No.
actually, this entire time, I was wearing my
I
tutu.
freaking love this.
Yes, and of course, for artistic integrity, I was wearing them the entire convention for 4 hours. 4 hours.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
doing this.
I like that this got weird fast. Yeah.
I told you I saved the edgy stuff for last. Should I teach you one more thing before we do the final raffle?
Yes.
For the
one more.
Are we raffling the PS5
well,
yet?
Let's see from the emojis if people want to see one more thing.
Well,
Let's see
I did kind of tease.
right.
I'm going to teach you something.
You did. All right.
I did. So only if you say. Wait, but we are gonna raffle the PS5, or was it already taken out?
Well, we gotta do some more raffles. I gotta figure out how we're gonna do the raffle, because the thing is, we gotta. I gotta think about this one.
Amanda, don't go. I have separation anxiety. Okay, you're back.
Oh no, I'm back. I'm sorry.
No, do another magic trick, because I got to figure out if we're going to do the final.
No worries. So everybody, I'm going to teach you,
because we've only had one winner so far. Because the rules were you had to be here.
All right. So
we've only had that happen once.
All right. So we're going to take care of that. In the meanwhile, everybody here is going to learn a magic trick, and I'm excited for you. Because there's a reason, by the way, that magicians don't reveal their secrets, and it's not because they are bad people, even though they are, but the reason is that magic is like a sausage, and that's it. That's the show, and I hope you enjoy it. No, I'm kidding.
What?
Magic is like sausage. Magic is like sausage because everybody likes it until you know how it's done, and then it's very disappointing. So I do want to show you this. It's a trick with a handkerchief. I will, of course, demonstrate it first, and then I will teach it to you. So you take a handkerchief and you poke it inside your hand. And then all you need to do once you poke it inside your hand is to say the magic words. The check is in the mail. And then, no, really, it is the magic words. It gets everything done. And then the handkerchief has vanished. And instead, there is an egg, because the handkerchief has vanished to my pocket. Now, I will teach you how it's done. It's very easy. Everybody can do it. All you need to do is go home and work on it, and then you can show it to your friends. And if you don't have any friends, you can go home and work on that. Anyway, so to do this, you need two handkerchief. This is the first one, and the other one is hidden in a very, very special place. Where I put, yeah, it's inside the egg. So until you know how it's done, and then it's very disappointing. I know, but I'm gonna give you the real work. Okay, this is just the secret. I want to give you the real work. So this is the second handkerchief, and the third thing you need is an egg with a hole in it about the size of your thumb. Okay, and you remove the contents of the egg, or else it kind of messes up the handkerchief. Okay, so what you do is you take one handkerchief and you roll it into a ball, and you stash it in your pocket or in your bag or something like this. And then you take the egg and you kind of palm it in your hand at an angle where people can't see. This is, of course, an exposed view because I'm teaching it to you. And then the only thing you need to do is to take the handkerchief and to push it back inside the egg. This is a micro learning secret, okay?
I love it.
You push it inside the egg, and then you say the magic words, the check is in the mail, blah, 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 blah. Do all the jokes if you want. You blow on it, and then it turns into an egg. And then all your friends will clap for you and boost your ego. It's amazing. Now, but there is one thing. It's very good for Zoom, this one. But it has angles. So if somebody looks from here, it's not so impressive. So if somebody sees this or calls you out because they saw it on YouTube and they know how magic is done, there's one thing you can do, and you make the hole disappear. And then you can actually show it on all sides. And if somebody is not convinced, you can always
Stop, that's so cool.
break the egg and let them examine it as much as you like. Any questions?
Amazing. That's
So
amazing.
that was the micro learning part of my show.
That was the micro learning portion of the show for everyone who wants to learn how to do that.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
All right.
Once I fell asleep with the hole in my head and was a mess on the bed, so I have to remember to take it off.
I love it. All right. Well, so I know, everybody, I want to first of all say thanks to everybody who's participated in this. It's been fantastic having you here. Hopefully you've all gotten something valuable out of this experience. I know I've had a blast hosting it. You've all been fantastic. I want to thank you, Amanda, Gideon, for being here, part of it, joining us on this, and every one of the speakers who is here. I know it's always hard to find time to make time for our own development and sharing wisdom and knowledge. So I think it's just been absolutely fantastic. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed it. And this blows the whole myth that, you can only do a virtual anything for more than 60 minutes, because to that I say nonsense. That's not true when you have this much fun. So with that, I'm going to do the final raffle for the PS5. So we got to somebody's got to win it. Somebody's got to win it. We're just going to keep spinning all night long if we have to, which could make this go on for a very long time. So let's see what we got. Ooh. So keep an eye out now. You got to keep an eye out. And if your name pops up, you got to say that was me. You have to, because otherwise it doesn't count. So do we have Magadi? I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. So I know I have to wait because there's a lag. So we got to see if we have this, because I don't want to give the PS5 away and then they're not here.
If nobody wants it, I can take it.
You are so sacrificial. Thank you.
I know.
So I'm gonna spin it again because going once, going twice. We're gonna spin the wheel again. Here we go. And we'll see, because we can watch the chat. So even if you're delayed, don't worry. But if you left, well, then I hate to say it, but too late. Too sad, so sad. Here we go. Is Jason still here?
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna keep
spinning. Is here.
Jason is
a professor. He's a professor of English from Berkeley.
Ooh.
Okay, looks like we've got our winner. I'm seeing all the. Oh yeah, he is. That's right.
Yeah.
So Jason, go out and buy some lottery tickets. I saw that was the advice. So congratulations, Jason, on you're winning your PS5. Remember, so that we don't rob kids of any presents over the holidays, you cannot get it until later in 2022. I'm sorry for the delay. So if you're looking at gaming over the break, you're just going to have to hold off. But with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Kate, for any kind of final words, and then we're going to let everybody get back to it because it's been a long day.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. That was a fantastic show, and thanks, Christopher, for hosting this. I've seen so many posts about you, and actually, that was a blast. And thanks, Gideon, thanks, Amanda, thanks, Elena, who organized all this technical stuff of this event. She was kind of a behind the scene, but actually, it's all because of her involvement, since we actually had so many fun today. So thanks, everyone. I hope you had a great time, because I actually did, and I learned so much, and I guess that was a great event. Thank you.
Was. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your, well, I mean, if you're Amanda, your day's just getting started. So apologies in advance. But it's Friday for you, which is a win in and of itself. So
good.
TGIF, happy Friday Eve to those of you that it's Thursday still. Happy Friday if it is Friday for you. And thank you all for being here. And we'll see you on LinkedIn, and maybe see you again. Love the emojis. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.